the immediate task is to stop hostilities, to stop any military activity, and to take measures to resolve humanitarian problems, which are all over the place. This is absolutely necessary first step. We called immediately when the Israeli reaction to the 7th of October massacre became known, we strongly condemned what Hamas did, and at the same time called for measured response in full accordance with international humanitarian law, respecting the international requirements for treatment of hospitals, women, children, other civilians. And as a first step, we suggested to the Security Council the draft resolution calling for immediate ceasefire, cessation of hostilities, for humanitarian purposes. It was not supported, first of all, by the United States. Then the developing countries, members of the Security Council, proposed a softer version of a resolution calling not for a ceasefire, but for humanitarian truce, which was also killed by the United States. They only were ready to say a humanitarian pause without any commitment to continue these efforts. A humanitarian pause was not something which the Arab and other Muslim countries and greater membership of the United Nations were ready to adopt. So they went to the General Assembly, and the General Assembly adopted a resolution calling for humanitarian truce, but it is not being implemented. And the current activities in the Security Council indicate that there is still an interest in having something from the Security Council, especially after the General Assembly has spoken. But the Americans are not going, at least as things stand now, they're not going to accept, to let go anything except a humanitarian pause with no commitment to do something else after one-time action. This is the immediate task. I still believe that this is doable. We leave to the authority of the United Nations relief and work agencies in Gaza, the efforts to defend their mandates, which are also under huge threat. But when this immediate fight is over, with all the understanding that terrorism cannot be accepted in any form, and that response to terrorism must be fully in line with international humanitarian law. At the end of the day, as Guterres, Secretary General of the United Nations, said soon after this started, the attack of Hamas took place not in a vacuum. So the second aspect of this problem, which is much more important, the cessation of hostilities and stopping of violence, is of huge importance to the civilians. But in historical terms, in sustainable settlement terms, the creation of Palestinian state is unavoidable. And the discussions which are taking place around the future of Gaza, most of them avoid concentration on the implementation of resolutions of the Security Council to create a Palestinian state next to Israel, living in peace and security, coexisting with Israel in peace and security. Borders were indicated as being 1967 borders, capital is Jerusalem. All this has never been cancelled by the United Nations.